It's better not to miss this, because it's not often that devices are tolerated where in the ratio of function the cost still outweighs the function. In this video, we test and get to know two cleaning robots at once. These are the MOVA P50 Ultra and the MOVA P50 Pro Ultra. As you can see, they are very similar in name, but very different in several fundamental aspects. This video will consist of at least 3 or even 4 parts, so don't miss what will be interesting to you. Let's start with the MOVA P50 Ultra. So, the MOVA P50 Ultra robot vacuum cleaner fully washes and vacuums the floor. It can do this either separately or simultaneously. As you can already see, it has a base for automatic dust disposal. It also charges at the same time there and the mop pads for this vacuum cleaner. So we have truly automatic cleaning. The floors are cleaned without any human intervention. The user only needs to occasionally add clean water and drain the dirty water, as well as replace the dust bag about once every 2 months. Now, let's get into the details. The vacuum cleaner itself comes without any compromises. It moves confidently through rooms because it has not only a laser LiDAR, but also a camera. The camera isn't for monitoring your home, but rather works as an additional sensor. In other words, the robot is very good at analyzing and avoiding obstacles. As for cleaning, based on my experience, again, there are no compromises here either. The robot has a powerful suction of 19,000 pascals. It also has movable, retractable parts for more thorough cleaning. These are the side brush, a small retractable disc, or a mop for wet cleaning. So the robot can not only pick up dry debris in the corners, but also mop there. Besides its impressive technical features, the app and the cleaning analysis on the robot itself are also at a pretty high level. Using this kind of robot starts with automatically creating a map. The robot will do everything by itself. And attention, it will even try to guess the purpose of each room. Of course, it will name it on the map according to its purpose. It might not guess quite right, but you can fix this in the app after the robot has created the map. Now it's the P50 Ultra's turn to create a map of the area where it will be cleaning. So let's just take a look at the app. Here is our app, and here is our robot. And now we move on to creating the map. Start quick map creation. There's a big button for that right here. You can tap it and confirm. That's it. Our robot is now heading out to create the map. Here it is moving around the room, and now it's about to go into another room. Meanwhile, in the app, as you can see, the outlines of the apartment and rooms are appearing. After the map creation is complete, the robot will intelligently identify all the areas in the space, assign them names, and set their types accordingly. You just need to edit them if it made a mistake somewhere. And during operation, when it's cleaning, for example, if you switch it to the mode called Clean Genius, it can even automatically adjust its cleaning process. It will determine what kind of cleaning is needed, how many passes to make, and what power level is required in each specific area of your home. And when you use this smart Clean Genius mode, it creates a sense of a little bit of magic. Sometimes it really feels like the robot is actually thinking about its cleaning, because even after it finishes, it can do a quick analysis and suggest cleaning again, potentially more polluted areas in the room. Of course, the owner can also take complete personal control over everything. You can set every cleaning parameter for each room in the apartment or home individually. For example, let's say I want to start cleaning from the main room, then move to the office, and only after that go to the kitchen and only then clean the hallways. Moreover, in each of these rooms, I want the power and the number of cleaning repetitions to be different. And the robot, according to the cleaning parameters I set, will always do it exactly the way I asked it to. For example, it can also do only dry cleaning in one room and both dry and wet cleaning in others. By the way, speaking of the robot's movement in space, it moves using 2 motorized wheels and 1 wheel that steers it in the desired direction. The robot can also overcome obstacles up to 22 millimeters high. These could be small thresholds. It also features a fairly new main brush, which accumulates less lint and hair. By the way, it recognizes the floor beneath it using 2 types of sensors, and when it gets onto a carpet, it can simply lift its mops. So, as soon as it drives onto a rug, it lifts its mops and stops them from spinning, and when it returns to the floor, it resumes mopping. Although, in the robot's app, there is a separate setting for this. For example, I always choose for the small side brush to spin on carpets. I find this very convenient, and in my opinion, it improves the quality of carpet cleaning. By the way, the robot can not only retract its small side brush, but also lift it above the floor so that it doesn't get in the way in certain areas while moving. After cleaning, by the way, it returns to the base and empties the debris from its internal container into the bag located in the base.
Почати заряджання. Запустити автовантаження.
Then it starts washing its mops with warm water. By the way, the temperature here is quite high, 75 degrees. Under the lid in the base, right here, by the way, is where the disposable trash bag is located. And by the way, this is the first time I've seen a robot with such a feature in its base. Here's another compartment, but it's originally empty. But there must be a reason for this compartment. You can put something here, install a detergent dispenser here. But if you want this dispenser, you'll have to buy it separately because neither the dispenser nor a bottle of detergent is included in the package. So the owner does have this small option to upgrade their robot even further in the future. Even though it already cleans the floor quite well as it is, we'll see that soon in this video. By the way, you can also control this robot using your voice through a smart assistant on your smartphone. This could be either Google Assistant or Apple Siri. And also, if you own an Apple Watch, you can install an app or widget for remote control of the robot right on it. And simply using the original MOVA Home app, as it's called, you can control this robot almost like you would control a remote controlled toy car. The app itself is the most advanced and feature-rich way to control this robot. There are so many settings in the app that, for example, you can program a do not disturb mode for the night so that the robot... For example, if it finishes cleaning quite late, it won't empty its internal dustbin in this mode, and it also won't start drying its mops because it has that function. And of course, when the drying process is running, there is also a certain amount of noise, and all these procedures that it needs to perform, it just does automatically. After the do not disturb mode ends, it will unload the trash here into the bag, and it will start washing itself and then begin drying. So it's really well thought out. I want to highlight the maps and their editing. Well, first of all, the robot supports multi-floor maps. Maps are saved and recognized automatically when needed. You can also view the maps even in a 3D projection, but here there are also quite useful features in the maps. For example, adding curtains or thresholds in the room. That is, usually robots perceive curtains hanging above the floor simply as an obstacle and don't clean the floor in that spot. But if we mark curtains in the app, the robot will clean very carefully under them. And this is a really convenient and well thought out feature by the manufacturer, in my opinion. That's how neatly it does it. Of course, the MOVA P50 Ultra app has a lot more features, and I haven't talked about all of them, but it's time to move on to the more advanced version, the MOVA P50, the Ultra version. This robot looks very similar, as you can see, to its younger sibling, but it has silver doors on the base. That's, of course, if we're talking purely about appearance. But overall, if you look closely, a visual inspection reveals that its radar is a bit different from the younger model. That's not just a coincidence, it's because microphones are built into the radar. We'll talk about that in more detail a bit later. The robot's main functions also include mopping. It can mop the floor separately or together with dry cleaning, and it has strong suction power. It also has 19,000 pascals of suction. Here there is also a retractable side brush and two mops, one of which is also retractable. And this model also has a built-in camera, but it also features an LED flashlight. In my personal experience using it, the robot moves very confidently in space, and when needed, for example, if it gets lost in the dark or under furniture, it automatically turns on the flashlight. Wherever it's needed, it turns it on, the illuminator. Its camera operates on artificial intelligence, of course, and it recognizes objects it encounters on the floor. In the app, you can see on the room map which objects it encountered on the floor. And you can see not only the locations of these objects, but even their photos and their names. If the robot managed to recognize them, the robot's base charges it. This is where the trash is unloaded. And by the way, inside the base, there's a 3.2 liter bag, which is enough for 75 days of use. At the base, the robot can wash its mops with hot water up to 75 degrees Celsius, and then it dries them with warm air. A significant difference between the Pro model and the regular one is specifically related to the Pro robot's mops, because the P50 Pro Ultra model can automatically remove them by itself if needed, whereas the P50 Ultra model always carries them around since it can't remove them automatically. Another interesting feature is specific to the P50 Pro Ultra. This is the fact that its base actually has a device for automatically dispensing cleaning fragrance. And of course, the dispenser and the cleaning solution that come included are quite good. Because with them, the robot cleans even tough stains on the floor better and faster. By the way, in the Robots app, you can monitor its consumables. For example, you can see how much life is left for the filters, brushes, and more. So there are three differences. We can already see them. The more expensive model compared to the simpler one, for example, the fact that this one actually has a detergent dispenser and that it can automatically remove the mop. It can take off its mops and leave them at the base, but there are also built-in microphones here and they must be for something. I wonder, what for? It's very simple. In fact, this model supports true voice control. No app, no smartphone needed at all. You can control the robot directly with your voice. For this, the robot must be set to English, because unfortunately voice control is not supported in all languages. So we need English in order for voice control to be activated. That's it. And then we have a list of commands that our robot responds to. You just need to say it. Hey Mova, clean up here. In this case, the robot even turns toward us. It needs to see us, and then it drives over to where we ask it to. Hey Mova,
I'm here.
clean up here.
Okay, I'm coming to clean up there. Please stay put for a moment while I locate you. Mop pad installed. Found you. Coming to clean now.
Or, for example, in another usage scenario, you can say, hey Mova, clean up kitchen or bedroom, and it will clean the room you ask it to clean. Hey Mova,
I'm here.
clean up the kitchen.
Okay, start to clean the kitchen. Make sure the door is open.
And there are quite a lot of such voice commands. You can even change some of the robot settings with these commands, or ask about its status, for example, the battery level. Hey Mova,
I'm here.
battery status.
Battery level is 98%.
Hey Mova,
I'm here.
go charge.
Resume returning to the dock.
And here is one of the reasons why the MOVA P50 Pro Ultra is significantly more expensive than the MOVA 50 Ultra model. Another feature is the camera of this more advanced robot. Here, it truly serves as a device for monitoring your home. For example, you might be at the office, on vacation, or on a business trip in another country altogether. You simply take your smartphone, open the MOVA Home app, and connect to the camera. You can check in on your home through this robot, and it works pretty impressively. Right now, I've enabled monitoring through the robot's camera. There's the robot, and that's its camera. Everything will be displayed here in the app, so you can see it all. It gives me some introductory information about how it works. And now, look, you can see my legs. I'm sitting on a chair, and there's a bed behind me. So you can just remotely control the robot like a remote-controlled car. You just take it like this and drive it around. Now it's going to move forward like this. Turn left, turn right, go wherever we need to. You'll be able to see the room. You can do real reconnaissance. It will turn on the lights so that it's a fair, honest use, so to speak. It will warn everyone around through the speaker that it is currently operating with camera monitoring. This is strictly connected. During this kind of monitoring, it will always announce it, say it out loud. What's happening right now? Monitoring through the camera, just like that. I drove it right up to my feet. Here is our robot. You can either turn it around with a single press. Now, let's do it like this. It can turn in the other direction or turn right. To the left, you can take photos or record videos. There isn't a lot of space, if I'm not mistaken. The robot allows you to store 200 megabytes, so you can just do it as much as you want. But overall, this feature is definitely useful You could almost say it's a security feature. You can inspect the house. You can do things like do a quick check for yourself, see if you forgot to turn off the iron, or just look around, drive up somewhere. Here's the map. By the way, it looks like you can ask it to go to a specific place, for example, to the kitchen. Now I'll press the button and ask it to go there. And now it will do it on its own. It's heading to another room, and we can watch it here on the smartphone screen. And you understand that if I have internet access on my smartphone, if I can connect to the robot via the internet, it doesn't necessarily have to be Wi-Fi. It can even just be mobile internet. And of course, all of this will work. So this is a great feature, you could say, for security, or another way to use the robot's camera. Right in the robot control interface, there is a function to find your pet through the camera. For example, if your cat or dog is home alone, you can ask the robot to automatically find your pet. And it will roam around the house until it finds the little animal you have at home. It starts searching for the pet. This function has pause, but like me, if you don't have a pet to demonstrate this with, there's nothing more to show. So for now, I'll cancel this function. And that's not all. Since it has microphones, you'll even be able to talk to your pet through it. And it can meow or bark back at you in response. You'll hear that as well. And it will hear your voice too, because the robot has a speaker and your voice will be heard through the speaker. That's basically how it all works. By the way, the robot can even record a short video with its camera up to 200 megabytes in size. It's a small video, and of course the quality isn't great, but it might be enough to capture some important moment. Also, from my own experience, I'll say that the Wi-Fi signal needs to be quite stable, because it can either get interrupted, or sometimes the quality might not be very reliable. The quality, for example, at my place, the 2.4 gigahertz network is very congested, and sometimes the signal quality isn't 100% great. But if your Wi-Fi network is working well, then of course you won't have any problems with the streaming video that the robot transmits to you. Also, by the way, this robot can even do a cruise around your home. You can program this cruise, and it will automatically travel around your home and take photos in the places that interest you. Later, you can simply open the app, view the photos, and see whatever you were interested in. So the main points of difference between these robots, we've already seen some of them, but there's more. The main brush that the P50 Pro Ultra robot uses for cleaning is even more advanced. It's from the new generation and has a built-in comb that cuts hair and fibers. It does this automatically just by rotating. And accordingly, it's practically impossible for hair to get stuck here. Of course, it can still get wound up or tangled somewhere at the very edges where there is no comb at all, but this happens extremely rarely. For example, during the time I was testing these robots, this basically never happened. In this part of the review, I suggest we move on to real-world testing of the robots. That is, practical cleaning. Because when it comes to numbers and power, and the batteries built into them seem to be the same, but it's not actually that simple. Let's start cleaning and see everything for ourselves. Right now, I want to do a general test by cleaning almost my entire place. That will be 4, let's say, rooms. We'll start with the P50 Ultra robot, and it will clean in universal mode, meaning both vacuuming and mopping at the same time. The moisture level will be set to medium and the power to standard, basically the most typical cleaning conditions. Now let's see how the robot handles this. The cleaning will be done in a single pass, so it's more for maintaining cleanliness, let's say. We'll see now how much energy it uses for this. Here we can see it's showing 100% charge. We're starting the cleaning now. It will wash itself first and then start moving around the house. Here I have it. Wet cleaning is finished and it's returning to the dock for charging. Right now the robot has finished cleaning. Here are our results. It took 40 minutes to clean a 30 square meter area, and 63% of the battery charge remains. So 37% of the charge was used to clean this area. Now let's compare this result with another more advanced robot. This time we're running the universal cleaning test with the P50 Pro Ultra. I'll select exactly the same number of rooms and the same type of cleaning. Humidity is set to medium, power to standard, and cleaning mode to universal. Dry and wet cleaning at the same time, vacuuming together with mopping, a single pass, and I select the rooms. Our robot is at 100% charge. Let's start cleaning. Here our worker is getting started in the kitchen. So the vacuum cleaner is now returning to the base after cleaning, and we're looking at our result. The result, 76% charge remaining. The vacuum cleaned for 45 minutes and covered 28 square meters of flooring. So that's the result we have. As far as I remember, it cleaned a bit longer than the simpler model, but at the same time used noticeably less charge. The settings and cleaning conditions, as you understand, were absolutely identical. But we still have another test, so let's continue testing our robots. As you can see, the overall result in terms of battery life is also in favor of the more advanced robot by 50%. The Pro Ultra used only 24% of its charge, while the P50 Ultra used as much as 36% under the same cleaning conditions. If we make a very rough interpolation of the results, the PRO model would be able to clean 120 square meters of space before running out of battery, and the simpler model would only be able to clean 80 square meters if it used up all 100% of its charge. And although such interpolation as I just suggested is actually impossible, because in reality these robots at around 15 to 20% remaining battery will automatically return to the base to recharge, and only then will they continue cleaning. Still, the more expensive model is able to clean longer under any conditions on a single charge. As you can see, this is confirmed by the tests. Couple more. We'll run a few more tests specifically for cleaning quality. I have this spot on the floor here. It's coffee residue. By the way, when the P50 Pro Ultra model was cleaning, I activated its floor stain recognition feature. And on the one hand, it turned out that I did the right thing, because the robot recognized this spot on the floor and completely turned off the suction, going over the stain only with its mops. Then it went back to the base to wash its mops, and only after that did it finish cleaning. But on the other hand, it took more time. And I knew that this spot actually wasn't wet, so there was no danger for the robot in terms of it possibly sucking moisture into its motor. But the robot didn't know that, and considering this, it actually did the right thing by recognizing that spot. Now I'm setting the maximum moisture level and we'll start cleaning. So the robot decided to go back to the base, wash its mops, and now it has returned to cleaning. Now, I think these are just the remaining traces of dirt. It will simply clean them up now. But the P50 Ultra model doesn't have this feature. It doesn't recognize stains on the floor, so I just activated the wet cleaning mode, universal floor cleaning. And it cleaned up that spot very, very quickly. We're talking about the P50 Ultra. Let's begin. This is a great task and a great comparison test. Honestly, I shouldn't have even set it to clean 3 times. Everything is already spotless. On the second pass, it wiped everything completely clean, so I'll even stop it now. Now I'll show you how I tested its power. Vacuum cleaner suction. Now let's see what I got through much starch each of these robots collected. This is a suction power test to see how well the vacuums actually suck things up. We'll try to collect it from the carpet. As for the debris, it will be 50 grams of cornstarch. Then we'll see how much of those 50 grams each vacuum cleaner manages to collect. I'm choosing triple cleaning at maximum power, only dry cleaning, of course, just vacuuming. I'm calling in our first contestant, which will be the MOVA P50 Ultra. Let's go! So here's the result we have in the end. 47 grams, which means about 3 grams were lost. I'm afraid that I lost those 3 grams simply while transferring from the container, just spilling it around here. And so I think we can call this result almost perfect. So for this particular demonstration, I am carefully choosing the dry cleaning setting, specifically selecting the maximum plus power option, and then we are officially starting our comprehensive test. Now, here are the results for our more advanced model, the P50 Pro Ultra. And as you can see here, the weight of the collected starch is even a bit more than 50 grams. Why? Well, probably because there was even more dust on the floor. Our robot vacuum pulled it up and added it to the starch collected. The result is just super impressive. Not only was all the starch collected, despite the fact that I did spill a few crumbs here, but it also picked up quite a lot of dust. So the tests of these robots showed and confirmed a lot for me. P50 Pro Ultra, definitely in any scenario use, will be much more autonomous. This is quite noticeable, but if the cleaning is in a small apartment like mine, a 2-room one, then both vacuums will handle it easily on a single charge. But if the user has a larger space or a multi-story place, then of course it will be more appropriate. The MOVA P50 Pro Ultra model, interestingly, the more advanced model has a brush with a comb that cuts hair. This little feature will be interesting for those who have pets at home, because it will be a bit easier to agree, having such a technical advantage. As for suction power, my tests didn't show any significant advantage for either of these models. They both have it. Well, almost. They are top tier in terms of their specs, even among many modern models. When it comes to cleaning, the situation is more or less clear to me. For my small apartment, literally each of these models can handle the cleaning very easily. But there are other aspects regarding the differences in features. This really comes down to the future owner's personal preference, whether they want those extra features and are willing to pay for them. I'm also very curious whether you personally are ready to pay extra for the additional features offered by the P50 Pro Ultra model, or perhaps the set of features provided by the P50 Ultra model is enough for you.